All right, in the course of the break, we were joined by Dr. Austin Tam George, Executive Director, Institute of Communication and Corporate Studies. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Let me ask you the first question. We're still looking at the fight against corruption. In your opinion, how well do you think we're doing?
Well, I think we can improve. Corruption has become so pervasive that it's almost impossible now to talk about Nigeria and affairs within Nigeria outside of the moral economy of corruption. It's so pervasive.
You think we can improve? Are we taking any steps at all? Are we even moving?
Well, there is some sort of campaign against corruption, but I suspect that what Nigerians want now is not just a campaign. They want actual fruits of the campaign. They want people who are proven to be corrupt, to be jailed, to be tried. They also want those who have benefited extensively from corrupt activities to be penalized. So we need to move away from the rhetoric of fighting corruption to actually be seen to be fighting corruption, and I think that is where we need to do more.
All right, let me come back to you, Kayode. Yes. We're in the course of talking, we talked about picking out the big fish. I mean, those who are high up there and have been known to be corrupt. But those who are up there will tell you that corruption, as we say, is endemic, and it begins from the man on the street. Would you agree with that?
Yes, of course. It begins with the man on the street. But also, let me say this. The leadership of a society reflects and mirrors to the society what the society should be. For as long as we have leaders who will not enforce laws that are designed to curb corruption, we will not sufficiently fight corruption. Let me give you an example.
Define the laws. Is it to themselves or to the led?
To themselves, the leaders and the led. Let me give you an example. For instance, you act as a legal practitioner and you want to secure your client's bail, and you are told, it's right in your face, bail is free. You are made to fill a bail bond which says you did not pay to secure your client's bail, but then your client is not released to you until he parts with money. Then you take it up later on and you approach the officer in charge and you say, look, this amount of money was collected from my client before he was granted bail. And the officer who collected the money says, I didn't collect anything. Where is your proof? Because you filled a bail bond that says you did not pay anything. Maybe what we will then have to do is to have secret cameras record these processes of you securing bail. Because you see, I get frustrated when I say to an officer in charge of a police formation, this is what happened, and then he says, but you filled a bond which says you did not pay anything. Whereas he knows that once you sign that bond, you can't come out to say you didn't pay anything. I had an experience recently and I just thought to myself, how do we deal with this? Do they want us to set them up? And I'm really being honest about this. Some time ago, someone had a car accident on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. I was called in to help, and the divisional traffic officer said to me, you have to pay 30,000 naira before the vehicle is released to you. And I told him I'm not going to pay anything. This is an accident, a lone accident. Nobody was injured. And the man says, well, if you don't pay, you don't take the vehicle. I left the station and I said to my client, you know what? I'm going to get a secret camera. When next I go there, I'm going to pay him the money. But I'll walk from that place straight to go and see the commissioner of police. But you know, the gentleman says, look, I am the only person who was injured in the accident. I need my vehicle. I need to sort out my insurance claim and all of that. And he goes to see the man, gives the man money. Because you see, there is also the frustration of the fact that if I report this man, nothing will be done about it. I had a personal experience this year, 21st of March, where I was assaulted by some policemen, and it got up to the Commissioner of Police in Lagos State. But you know, the policemen who were detailed to investigate the case told me to return in about a week. whereas we're supposed to go to the site where the incident occurred to interrogate witnesses. My staff who accompanied me, who was seriously brutalized, had to go to the hospital. By the time it was a week and we went back, they said, okay, come back, the other policemen are not available. 2 weeks turned into 3 weeks. By the time it was 4 weeks, I lost interest. Who will you find at the scene of incident to interview or to interrogate? So you see, there is a system that does not encourage the fight against corruption.
But the signs that we're getting, I mean, what we hear from what the IG is saying, still, well, I can still use the word new. What we hear from what the new IG is saying is that all this you're talking about is yesterday's news.
When was he appointed? I'm talking about March this year. And I'm talking about something that also happened in June. If he says it's yesterday's news, it has not caught up with his men.
Well, then, this is the message we should be sending to him now.
It has not caught up with his men.
That his men don't seem to be on the same page as he is.
Certainly
his
not.
men are still carrying on like business as usual.
Certainly.
So he needs to be looking at,
for instance,
the line.
I say, is it not possible for the commissioner of police of any state to dress in mufti and drive around town in the evenings? Can he not do that? It will not cost him much. Why is it that, and you see, there is a so-called monitoring unit in each police formation, particularly the state commands. But the question is, how much work are they doing? When they find these erring officers, what is done to them? Let me give you an example of what can be done to let people know that the police is serious about fighting corruption, or that the government is generally serious about fighting corruption. In the last 4 years, I have had some sort of relationship with the FBI, the Metropolitan Police. And one thing that amazes me is that on a daily basis, I get a report of the activities of these security agencies every day on how they are fighting crime, how they are prosecuting cases, and you get an update every day. I have received that every day in the last 4 years. So if the police is fighting crime, let them give us the statistics. Let them show us what they are doing.
Let me ask the Fusika here. Is it possible that the police would fight corruption effectively if their welfare is not taken care of? And not necessarily the police. Can we fight corruption effectively without proper welfare?
Yeah, that question will seem to give the impression that the people that are stealing is because they are hungry.
But are they not hungry?
No, but if somebody, all these high-profile cases that we are talking about, if someone is in the House of Rep or Senate or whatever, and we know how much they collect, so it's not a question of welfare, and he's given an assignment to do, and he still goes about collecting dollar bribe and all that. It's not because it's just that some people are just greedy. It's not about welfare. No matter how much. Okay, talking about the police, I return to that team again, the one that was convicted, the Inspector General of Police. Was it a question of welfare? It wasn't a question of welfare. That's not to say, too, that these things should not be attended to. I'm not saying that. For instance, if you go to the police barracks and all that, you see that we are just deceiving ourselves. There's no way a human being living under that condition. Even go to their police stations, many of them don't even have desk. I think they just report every day, pick their gun and go on the streets or whatever. I don't know whether, so if you look at the conditions under which they work, really, they are not supposed to perform. It's failure guaranteed. But again, still within this system, you cannot say that you will not find people, no matter how small the population is, who despite all odds, who despite everything, are still, they are doing their work. They've resisted all temptation to, because if you are talking of want, there's always, if you have, if as you are sitting here now, you may be thinking, if I have my first 1 million, everything will just be fine. I will not be, By the time you get the 1 million, you begin to
get the next
if I get, maybe if I move to Ikoyi, it will be better for me. Then, if you move to Ikoyi, then you'll be thinking of joining the boot club.
Okay, so it's still the common the street that goes up to.
I mean, not
become a high profile
about moral economy. You know, people must. When you don't have contentment in your life, if you the little that you have to raw, there are people living in poverty, abject poverty, and you make propositions to them, and they will tell you, look, it's not for me. It's about. But when you have a society where everything it seems to be permitted and permissible, and you look at those people ruling you, and it's corruption all over the place. Then he spoke about the small thieves around. They are small because they've not had the opportunity. When they get to
doing big things,
they are also aspiring that, look, from just as if we get 1 naira, if I'm in a position to get 1 naira today, it's aspiring to be in a position to get 5 naira in terms of returns. They talk of lucrative posting, lucrative this, lucrative that. They are not talking about the salary attached to it. They are talking about the opportunity for graft and and pork and all that in the oven. So I agree. If we want to fight corruption, the institution of states, and we are not talking about the police alone, because we tend to concentrate on the police. You're talking about the state. What is the state really? You talk about the law enforcement agency, the prisons, customs, police, army, even lawyers, the courts, the judicial system. Those are the pillars. But when all these have collapsed, then there's nothing you can do about it.